Hey guys, welcome back to round 3. We are here with Nathan Ortiz and Gavin Michaels. One of these names for sure you'll be at least familiar with. If not, if the other one sounds a little familiar, it's because he went to his first regional at Dallas and apparently placed 10th overall, so that's pretty impressive here. Gavin is gracing us all with his presence here at SoCal Local. Finally, I did miss him. He got a cookie for all his troubles here, but super excited to see what they're bringing. Nathan on your left side with an Inteleon, Whimsicott, Vanillux, Chandelure, love this, Conkeldurr and Duraludon, and Gavin on your right with that Dragapult, Togekiss, Duraludon, Rotom, jury's still out on me for that one, Arcanine, and Gyarados. So there's no one to talk with right now, but I want to talk about this Inteleon because that is not a Pokemon you would ever normally see, especially because it doesn't have access to its hidden ability, which I think is Sniper. So no word on when that might potentially be released, but as of right now it only has Torrent as its ability, which boosts water type moves at like a third HP, so kind of interesting to see it on a team. Some really cool options here as well. You've got Vanillux, has I think that Ice Body to be able to recover HP at the end of a return. Whimsicott and Conkeldurr, of course, pretty much staples at a certain point on some people's teams. Whimsicott with the Tailwind and being able to set up and support could go for Fake Tears. The Prankster ability really helpful in this case. Just gonna get right into it now. Again, Nathan Ortiz versus Gavin Michaels. Gavin, this trainer card is gonna make me laugh. Guys, decorate your trainer cards. It's the best part about this. I do judge based on trainer cards as well for the most part, but we are actually going to get Duraludon and Gyarados as the lead of choice here for Gavin, and then from Nathan we're going to have Whimsicott and also his own Duraludon here in response to that, as Gyarados actually has the Intimidate ability, so not Moxie like we've seen in some cases before, is going to lower the attack stat on both of these Pokemon. Not really that important, especially on Whimsicott, which is more of a supporter Pokemon, and most of the moves that it uses are all special attack based anyway. So Nathan in a really prime position here to set up Tailwind, give himself the advantage in terms of speed here. Not really sure how fast each of these Pokemon are because Gyarados is the only one whose ability actually was able to be prompted here. We've got two Pokemon with Stalwart on the field and the Whimsicott with Prankster, so its own speed is actually sort of a moot point here. I think if you're Gavin, you're going to have to just take out that own Duraludon before it goes after yours. Whimsicott could be a little bit of a problem though, is able to do a lot of supportive things that could be a pain for Gavin later on, but he is actually going to withdraw that Gyarados and bring in his Togekiss, revealing one of the Pokemon he has in the back, as Nathan is actually just going to go straight for the Dynamax here, is going to be Dynamaxing that Duraludon, so not something unfamiliar to most people who have ever played on ladder against a Duraludon before. It is a powerhouse, quite literally. The Tower of Pain, I guess, in this case, once it has Dynamax, because it has access to things like Max Steel Spike and Max Darkness and Max 1-1. Charm is actually going to be the move of choice here from that Whimsicott, going to lower the attack onto the Togekiss so that Gyarados getting out of there right when it needed to, as Duraludon goes for the Snarl, is going to break a potential sash on Nathan's Pokemon, and does drop the special attack of both Duraludon and Whimsicott here, as Duraludon goes for the maximum win into Gavin's own Duraludon. Obviously wasn't going to hit that Togekiss if it did happen, as the attack for both Togekiss and Duraludon is going to drop here, so that Gyarados actually managed to escape pretty nicely there. Togekiss comes in for no damage whatsoever, does get an attack drop, but it won't matter for something like Togekiss, who usually runs Dazzling Gleam, could go for Yawn, has to follow me. So Gavin, I think, is just pivoting in a way that he's going to set himself up so he can do a lot of damage towards Nathan's Pokemon. Did have to reveal a Pokemon in the back for it, but is putting himself in a prime position to be able to dole out a little bit more damage. We'll have to worry about the Max Steel Spike into Togekiss. If he's not carrying the Babiri Berry, that Togekiss could go down if it doesn't hold on. Might have a weakness policy. Who Gavin only really knows right now, or whoever else has played him, but if that Togekiss has a weakness policy on it, could be a little bit of a problem for Nathan in this way, but instead is going to go for a Protect on this turn, so going to hide behind that shield to make sure it doesn't get hit, as Whimsicott goes for the Fake Tears, goes into that protected Togekiss, and Duraludon on Gavin's side is going for Flash Cannon, is going to reveal the Babiri Berry for Whimsicott instead, so that super effective Steel attack is going to be mitigated just a little bit here, allow Whimsicott to stay around for another turn, as Duraludon goes for Max Steel Spike into the protected Togekiss slot. That Fake Tear is not being there means that this Togekiss is going to be around for a while, thanks also to that Protect. So Gavin, able to at least keep a little bit ahead of Nathan here, is able to kind of predict what's going on as, oh, that Togekiss is definitely, yeah, that is a weakness policy, so that is a +2 special attack Togekiss. And that Togekiss is going to be a lot scarier. You have the option now to go for the Dynamax on it. That +2 with things like Max Starfall or Max Airstream to raise your speed for later on means Gavin is in a prime position to be able to just grab the reins of this match and just run away with it. A Duraludon on Nathan's side is actually on its last turn of Dynamaxing as well, so he has to make the most use out of it. Duraludon didn't take a lot of damage, but in that same sort of vein, it hasn't done as much damage as it could have on the field. Gavin's kind of been ahead of the pace a little bit here, and was able to at least think, okay, Togekiss is like the bigger threat for him here, so we're gonna try to make sure we protect it so it's around for a little bit longer. The protect and weakness policy proc is really helping him, especially in this turn right now, where he's going for the Dynamax and it is going to be that Togekiss again at +2 special attack, so could go for something. Again, like Max Airstream, you get that extra boost of speed for later on, which acts kind of like a tailwind, and then also has something like Max Starfall to set up Misty Terrain for later on. But Whimsicott, I'm going to try to match that and goes for its own tailwind on this turn finally after 2 turns of things like Charm and Fake Tears. Max Steel Spike is going to go into that Togekiss. It's going to do super effective damage, but it's like thanks to that Dynamax and an extra amount of HP, that Togekiss takes it very nicely. Does get a plus defense to both Whimsicott and Duraludon. Not going to matter though. Again, Togekiss is a very specially heavy attacker. Whimsicott is going to go down on this turn thanks to that Flash Cannon, and now Togekiss is free to go for the Max Starfall into that Duraludon, again at +2, and it is going to do some pretty good damage. Not enough to put Duraludon in the red, but that Dynamax is going to end on Nathan's side, leaving Togekiss free reign for 2 more turns at a boosted attack now. I think it's a little bit of a tough spot here for Nathan. He's going to have to figure out how to stop that Togekiss, and actually Vanillux is a great way to do that. It is an Ice type Pokemon, and Togekiss is clearly a flying type as well, as Snow Warning is going to come in and going to bring in the Hail, which means you've got Ice typings that are going to do even more damage here to Togekiss. Duraludon is going to go down a little bit in HP, but again, still not in the red, so Nathan not quite out of it, yet he does have that Tailwind available to him, has been set up by that Whimsicott before it went down in that previous turn. But Gavin has 2 turns of max moves to use to do what he can to boost up his own stats. He still has that Gyarados in the back and 1 more Pokemon, but we don't actually know what it is. So his damage output right now is still pretty considerable in comparison to Nathan's. I think with the Duraludon, his Duraludon being faster than that Togekiss as of right now, he's in a better spot, but actually instead he chooses to switch out that Duraludon, brings in the Conkeldurr instead, and this is actually a really interesting choice now. Vanillux goes for the Protect, gonna want to hide behind this for a little bit to make sure it can take out that Togekiss further on, but Gavin actually chooses to take the second turn to go for a Max Guard, which is a little bit of a rare choice. We very rarely see Dynamax Pokemon going for that Protect, but Conkeldurr getting hit by Snarl from Duraludon on Gavin's side does get dropped 1 special attack stage, but Conkeldurr is definitely one of those Pokemon who can brush that off very easily, as Togekiss is going to be on its last turn of Dynamax for this upcoming turn. Conkeldurr, no Flame Orb damage and like no Flame Orb activation, so I'm going to assume that it's most likely Iron Fist right now, which means any punching moves it has is going to be upped in attack, which could be a problem here for Duraludon. It is part Steel type, so something like Drain Punch is going to do a lot of damage to it and help Conkeldurr get healed up here, but Gavin is like, I don't want that to happen. Is going to switch out his Conkeldurr, bring in Arcanine, so that is the second Intimidator here in the back. That Intimidate going into both Pokemon. A little bit more important for Conkeldurr, if you know anything about Conkeldurr here, but Blizzard is going to connect with both Pokemon. Togekiss still holding on, will be able to at least get 1 more attack here, but instead is going to go down on this turn thanks to that Thunder Punch doubling into that Togekiss. Even with that Intimidate, not going to help much at all as Togekiss is knocked out. But now you have the chance to bring in Duraludon and Gyarados in for Gavin, as both Conkeldurr and Arcanine take a little bit more residual damage from that Hail. So Nathan able to kind of bring that to an even playing field here as he switched out his Duraludon and was able to use Conkeldurr to the best of its ability right now, as Gyarados does hit the field, is going to get another Intimidate into that Conkeldurr, so it's at -2. Both Vanillux and Conkeldurr are at -2 attack. Again, more important on that Conkeldurr because Iron Fist and And the fact that it's a fighting type Pokemon means it's got a high attack stat. But Gavin, not quite like in the weeds yet here, has a little bit of firepower and I guess water power on his side of the field. Arcanine, though, mostly known for Snarl in this current metagame, so not something that we've seen since the beginning of the Sun and Moon seasons, where it was a supportive Pokemon more than anything else. But Conkeldurr are going to switch out here as Duraludon is going to be on the field. If that Arcanine has any fire type move at all, this would be the best time to show that, because both these Pokemon here are not going to like this. But Gyarados goes for the Protect on this turn, probably expecting another Thunder Punch here, but Vanilluxe going for the Freeze Dry, which does super effective damage to water type Pokemon once it hits them. Arcanine going for a Burn Up, super effective damage into that Vanilluxe. It's gonna would have easily knocked it out if that hadn't been carrying a Focus Sash. So Arcanine did its best here, but not quite able to pick up the knockout on there, as all these Pokemon except Vanilluxe will take that damage from the hail. So Vanilluxe is able to live another day, go for another Freeze Dry if it so chooses to, because Tailwind is still actually up here for Nathan's side of the field. So that Whimsicott that fainted a couple turns ago is paying dividends right now. That last breath that it had using Tailwind is able to help its teammates on in like these past couple of turns. So Arcanine and Gyarados, Pokemon that are generally seen as very intimidating and really strong, have been kind of having trouble with an Ice Cream Cone and whatever Duraludon is supposed to be at this point. The Sheraton Hotel, yeah. Conkeldurr is... So Conkeldurr is coming back into the field here in place that Vanilluxe, as Snarl from Arcanine is gonna... was hoping to pick up that knockout there on Vanilluxe, but instead it's going to catch that Conkeldurr, which is going to be at full attack again. But Gyarados gets bounced again this season, guys. Hallelujah. I'm going for Draco Meter into that Arcanine. It's going to do a lot of damage because it doesn't have not quite that much. It's going to take a -2 to its special attack for its troubles, as Arcanine is actually still at pretty good health for the moves that it has taken so far. But everyone here taking that residual hail damage now that Vanilluxe has pieced out and said, you know, oh no, sorry, there's the Flame Wave activation. My bad. So that is actually Guts Conkeldurr. I am so sorry for that, guys. That was my bad. This Conkeldurr is gonna be very scary now, because that is a double in attack. So Gavin's like, nope, I'm gonna withdraw that Arcanine. We're gonna peace out there. We're actually gonna bring back that Duraludon, which is the only other Pokemon that he's got in the back. Alright, I guess there can only be one Duraludon on the field at a time, as Vanilluxe is going to take the place of its own Duraludon from earlier. Snow Warning not going to activate again because Hail is still up, but Conkeldurr going for the Protect on this turn as Gyarados goes for the Bounce. And thanks to that Protect, Conkeldurr is going to be able to stand around here for another turn. Vanilluxe, though, coming in right when that Hail has finally ended. It's going to be an interesting choice, and I almost actually forgot what the screen looked like while the hail was not there. But, ooh, this might be a little bit of trouble now for Nathan, because I think Tailwind also just expired, which means Gyarados might actually have a chance to knock something out here, so if it so chooses, it has to be really careful because Conkeldurr had revealed that Thunder Punch from earlier on to knock out the Togekiss on Gavin's side, and Gyarados definitely does not like Thunder Punch at all, if that's anything of an understatement to go by. And it's actually Freeze Dry and Thunder Punch, so at this point Nathan can kind of pick his poison, but Gavin's like, hey, I don't want that Vanilluxe around here any longer, so we're just going to knock that out instead, as Duraludon goes for Draco Meter from Gavin's Duraludon goes into that Conkeldurr. And that Conkeldurr is also not going to like that, so Gavin actually managed to pick up 2 knockouts on that same turn, and is able to at least say, hey, so now it's just a Duraludon versus Duraludon, Gyarados, and Arcanine on Gavin's side of the field. So this Duraludon's actually on its last legs too. At 32 HP, it did take some earlier damage, and there's not much that Nathan can really do right now. Waterfall is going to be able to, not pick up that knockout. That is one tanky Duraludon, but Draco Meter, even at -2 special attack, is going to be able to easily pick up that last 2 HP, giving game 1 to Gavin Michaels. So, that was a lot for them to get through. There was definitely a lot of switching around and a lot of figuring out which Pokemon to protect. the nice thing about both of their teams was they were able to do that and at least keep the damage from getting to be out of control, right? So the downside I think here for Nathan is looking at his Dynamax turns for this game, at least it didn't feel like they were able to do as much as like you usually try to get out of Dynamax turns, and I think part of that has to do with the fact that Gavin was able to understand like Nathan's most optimal choice and respond in kind and have the resources to be able to do that. He had both the Arcanine and he had the Togekiss in the back at any moment's notice to kind of bring into him into the field for when he needed to, and bringing Togekiss in that turn 1 was absolutely like a great choice because that way he's able to protect the next turn. He gets that weakness policy activated because that Duraludon had managed to Dynamax earlier on. So I think now if you're Nathan, you have to kind of consider like what are the biggest threats on Gavin's side, and one of the biggest threats there is that Togekiss. Like, what are you going to do about the Togekiss and its weakness policy, and how do you stop it from getting too much power or from staying on the field too long? Because if you leave it alone on the field too long, it could do something like maybe yawn, it could go for Dazzling Gleam or just do chip damage gradually, which could add up to major damage over time. So there's a lot of options on Gavin's side, especially because both Arcanine and Gyarados are very, like, again, powerhouse Pokemon that you see usually. Arcanine, again, a little bit more relegated to supportive on this season so far, but Gyarados is not a Pokemon to kind of, like, look away from. It is able to go for like the Intimidates every time it's out on the field. It's able to go for Waterfall. It's a fast Pokemon, and so high attack plus the Waterfall and the chance for flinches, it's not something that you can really ignore or leave on the field for too long. And Nathan, I think, is very aware of that, and he has proven himself already, like in a regional, and is like able to say like, hey, he understands this. And we've got Duraludon and Arcanine actually as a lead of choice now for Gavin, so a little bit of a change. The other Intimidator side by side next to that Duraludon, as Whimsicott and Inteleon is actually going to be the lead of choice here. Excuse me, for Nathan. I'm going to be honest, I genuinely don't know what Inteleon is supposed to do, so that'll be fun to see. But Whimsicott on the field means that you've got a lot of support for Nathan in terms of like that Whimsicott and Inteleon combination. We saw Charm, we saw Fake Tears. If you can Fake Tears the correct Pokemon and then go after it with an attack from Inteleon, you've got a lot of damage going into one of Gavin's Pokemon and not much you can do to stop it. The scary thing about Whimsicott is if you have no way of stopping it, then that Prankster and all those Prankster style moves are able to really do some, not like really physical damage, but enough damage that its partner can do physical damage. So you have to kind of treat Whimsicott as every big of a threat as any other Pokemon on the field, as Gyarados is going to come into the field now in place of that Arcanine. So another Intimidate here, so both Pokemon at -2 attack. Again, not really going to be super important on things like Whimsicott, because Whimsicott, again, a super supportive Pokemon here, but Inteleon is going to be the Pokemon of choice here for Nathan to go for that Dynamax. So I'm guessing something like Max Geyser. I didn't run Sobble on my team, and I only got a Sobble so I could complete the Pokedex, so Inteleon's moveset is a mystery to me, y'all. But Gavin actually also going for the Dynamax, so he's actually going to Dynamax this turn with his Duraludon, I'm guessing. Yep. And so we've got here like Duraludon and Inteleon both on the field at Dynamax on the same turn, but that Duraludon did go after, so we will see that Inteleon move first. As Whimsicott goes for the Fake Tears, no Protect from any Pokemon here. It might be a little bit of in trouble for that Gyarados, as Max Geyser from Inteleon is going to go into that Gyarados. It's going to do a lot of damage, is able to pick up a clean knockout even with that resistance here. It's going to bring in the rain as well. So that -2 special defense, really important. And I think if Gavin saw that coming, he decided to just sacrifice that Gyarados, and a reveal of the Life Orb of Inteleon actually is Max Wormwind is going to go into that Inteleon, gets it down to a bit of half HP. It's going to drop down the attack for both these Pokemon, so they are at -3. Still not that important though for either of these Pokemon, but Togekiss is going to come back onto the field. Togekiss is going to be revealed to be the last Pokemon in the second game. And we did see it do a lot in that first game when it was Dynamax, but now Gavin has chosen a different Dynamax target. So I think we'll see the Togekiss be relegated to a more of a supportive role If it has air slash, could go for some flinches here onto that Whimsicott. Could go for a follow me, so at least it'll draw attention away from Duraludon, so it's on the field and able to do more damage. We saw that first Max Warman do. Actually, Inteleon's going to go for the Max Guard here, so going to choose to protect this turn to make sure that Duraludon isn't able to knock it out, as Togekiss actually also goes for protect on this turn. Whimsicott going for fake tears though onto that Duraludon, so a -2 on that Duraludon for just this turn, as Max Wormwind is not going to connect into that Inteleon thanks to that Max Guard. So Max moves don't hit through Max Guard in this instance. In all instances, but Whimsicott is actually is in a great position to go maybe for another fake tears and take care of whatever Pokemon Nathan really actually wants here. That Duraludon's already at -2 in special defense. Togekiss could be at -2 in special defense, but Togekiss goes for another protect and manages to get that second protect on this turn. And we are going to see Max Geyser though from Inteleon go into that Duraludon. Had already managed to get the special defense drop on it. Does a lot of damage despite that resistance, and that's the power of that -2, but Moonblast is not enough to pick it up. Does get a special attack drop though, so that is kind of nice for Nathan. However, Max Wormwind from Duraludon is going to be able to connect Inteleon. Ooh, that was so important because that Inteleon managed to hold on, and that's not something you really want to see. Sure, another minus attack for both Inteleon and Whimsicott, but right now this Duraludon is definitely not in a good spot, and Gavin's gonna have to make some good calls to be able to make sure that his Duraludon doesn't get knocked out and that he isn't left with just a Togekiss and an Arcanine versus this Whimsicott and this Inteleon, which are the only two Pokemon we've seen revealed so far from Nathan. This Inteleon is single-handedly, as of right now, being able to just kind of steamroll over Gavin's team. I guess it could wash it away. No, there's a better way to make that joke. I will find it somewhere. But Nathan has kind of he's turned the tides around from game one. I found it, guys. I found my water joke here. Is able to pick up that knockout on Togekiss very easily here. And Gavin is down to his Arcanine and his Duraludon. Inteleon feints for its troubles here to knock out that Togekiss, but honestly, at this point, like, it's a little rough. I mean, all Gavin has left is that Arcanine in the back. Sure, there's a Whimsicott on the field that's, like, supportive, but it's at full health. Nathan still has whatever other Pokemon he's got in the back. It could be that Duraludon, the Kakaldor. If it's the Chandelure, I mean, like, you can't really hit it with I guess you could hit it with Snarl, but it's going to be that Duraludon, and you double into Arcanine. Like, there's literally nothing that Gavin can do right now, given that, like, hey, it's sure, Intimidate's nice, but Gavin can't really do anything, and I guess that means we're going to go to a game 3 here because I genuinely don't see a way out for Gavin here at all. Yep, and there we go. We see the forfeit here. So that Inteleon Whimsicott pairing is absolutely deadly that we've just seen. The fake tears and then the Max Geyser. Like, Inteleon is a scary fast Pokemon, and there wasn't a lot that Gavin could do to stop it. He did spend, a couple turns, like, switching out Pokemon, going for the Dynamax, and I think both players using something like Protect was really smart, and they utilized it in like a way that benefited them for later on turns, which is something I think that's very rare to see with Dynamax Pokemon. Again, it's hard to want to justify spending a turn to Protect unless, like, you're gonna lose the Pokemon here, but we are gonna see this third match right now. That's going to be, I think, a little bit rough for Gavin. That Inteleon Whimsicott, I think if you're Nathan, there's no reason not to go with that pairing, right? Because then at that point, you kind of force Gavin to have to bring in something that can take it down. And either that's something with Max Lightning or just a regular, like, Thunderbolt. So it could be that Rotom. And then you just give Nathan targets to go after. And so you just have to kind of decide, I think, right now, if you're Gavin, how you want to deal with that Inteleon and Whimsicott. As we go into this game 3 to decide who's going to win round 3, as it's going to be Duraludon and Gyarados, going to be the lead of choice this time for Gavin. So Not quite the same from game 2, but it is the same as game 1, as Whimsicott and Inteleon, which worked so well for Nathan in game 2, is going to be the lead that he chooses for this one right now. Gyarados' Intimidate is going to go into both of these Pokemon, but again, not going to matter much because, again, Whimsicott is a supportive Pokemon, and Inteleon is as indifferent about that attack drop as its face looks like. Not much that it can, not much that it's like really worried about right now. You can see if we see that fake tears combination again going to that Gyarados went down so fast after that, and it's gonna be kind of rough to stop that Inteleon from really kind of steamrolling again to Gavin's team. We are going to see that Dynamax Inteleon from Nathan. He is going to go for that that Pokemon that worked so well for him in game 2. There's no reason not to for game 3, and this is even before it gets anything like its hidden ability, so a little bit of a scarier Pokemon to kind of try to deal with here. We are also going to see Gavin go for his own Dynamax Pokemon here. I think that's actually going to be the Gyarados this time instead of the Duraludon. Yep, so Gyarados is going to be the one that goes for the Dynamax move here, which is a little bit of a change up. So Gavin has chosen to Dynamax 3 different Pokemon in all 3 games thus far. And now it's just a matter of which Pokemon will be faster between them, as Whimsicott goes for the fake tears, is able to get the special defense drop on that Duraludon. Max Hailstorm instead going to be the move of choice here from that Inteleon. Goes into Duraludon and is... I'm sorry. That Duraludon managed to hold on even after that special defense drop with 3 HP. That is insane. Gyarados going for the max Airstream, so no change in weather, which means this Duraludon is also going to go down on this turn, but Gavin sees that Whimsicott as a little bit more of a threat because of that support that it offers with something like with that fake tears, and does get a speed boost, so could be faster than will be faster than Inteleon on that next round. Duraludon goes for the Snarl on this turn. The last thing it'll be able to do before it gets knocked out by that hail, lowers that special attack, which is the most important thing here. Could be that Arcanine is actually going to be able to come in on this turn for that fainted Duraludon, which is a good way for Arcanine to be like, hey, I'll just get another Intimidate onto here and try to go after whatever Pokemon Nathan is gonna bring out here, because yeah, you could go down from the sorry, it's gonna be Duraludon. Oh, sorry, Duraludon on Nathan's side of the field is going to come out onto the field here, as Togekiss is going to be the Pokemon of choice, which this is going to be very interesting, because if you're going to try to take down that Togekiss, you're going to have to devote both Duraludon and Inteleon most likely into that. Max Hailstorm, though, very kind of fun choice. I think it's based off of Ice Beam, because I definitely taught my Inteleon Ice Beam at some point. So this is going to be a little bit of a mind game now, I think, here if you're Gavin, because both Togekiss and Gyarados aren't going to appreciate Max Hailstorms here. But it's going to be a little bit tough now, because Duraludon is also kind of a scary Pokemon to see. And Max Airstream, yep, that +1 from earlier is going to make that Gyarados faster than Nathan's Inteleon. Not quite enough to pick up the knockout, but does give a boost in speed to both Togekiss and to Gyarados, so it could be beneficial for later on. Inteleon going for the Max Hailstorm again. Neither one of these Pokemon at a lowered attack stat, so that Gyarados takes that very comfortably, even with that Life Orb. As Togekiss goes for Dazzling Gleam, is able to pick up the knockout now on that Inteleon. Does a little bit of damage to Duraludon, but the more important Pokemon here is getting rid of the Inteleon, which just absolutely washed away all of Gavin's team in game 2, but Gyarados holds on even past that Thunderbolt and does take a little bit of residual hail damage here, but is still able to hold on for at least one more turn, able to get maybe another Max Airstream to guarantee him the speed for that Togekiss at least. But Duraludon and that Conkeldurr, so that Conkeldurr is actually not going to really enjoy either one of the Togekiss or the Gyarados on Gavin's side. And now that those there have been 2 Max Airstreams going, that Gyarados is at +2 speed and that Togekiss is at +1. So we already saw Duraludon go last. I don't think Conkeldurr is going to be able to outspeed either one of these Pokemon at this point. And that puts Gavin kind of in the driver's seat. He's flying this plane of Max Airstream on the wings of Togekiss. So it's
I don't think there's anything that Nathan can really do here. Max Airstream from Gyarados is going to go into that Conkeldurr. No protect from the Conkeldurr. An easy knockout here. Gives Gyarados a +3 to speed now, and Togekiss at +2. And now it's Gyarados, Togekiss, and whatever Pokemon Gavin has in the back versus this Duraludon. Might not be out of the woods yet, maybe, though. Single target Dazzling Gleam is going to do some okay damage here. Gets Duraludon down to half health. Duraludon goes for the Thunderbolt, though. This time into that Togekiss, which was an interesting choice because now you activate that weakness policy, which gives Gavin's Togekiss a very nice boost in its stats. Gyarados will still not go down to this hail. Both of these Pokemon are still faster than Nathan's Duraludon, and honestly at this point, like, I don't actually think there's anything left for you to do if you're Nathan, except either watch your Duraludon go down or click forfeit and give the round to Gavin, who was able to kind of pace himself in terms of Dynamaxing his Pokemon and choosing certain targets in the best way possible. As Togekiss goes for the Dazzling Gleam, is able to pick up the knockout after that Waterfall wasn't quite able to do so, giving game 3 and the round to Gavin, but not without a huge fight from Nathan, because that game 2 was absolutely insane to watch, and definitely gave Gavin a run for his money. I definitely need to get some drink of water after that, and I will see you guys actually really soon, because I think that was our last match for the round. Nope. Okay, so we got a couple more matches, but I'll see you guys really soon. Don't go anywhere, okay?